this is basically how I achieved muscle mass growth in just basically 2 weeks. Now, will you get here? That will depend upon you, honestly. Like, could you get here? I think it's very much possible, right? But I was actually able to increase, you know, muscle mass, like about like 10 pounds in just 2 weeks, right? Which is actually probably unheard of, right? It's pretty much unheard of, right? But before you start this process, right? Maybe you won't reach it in 2 weeks. Maybe you'll reach it in a month, maybe 2 months. Right? It's really up to you how you want to do it, right? And that's all. That all depends upon you, right? But basically, what you want to do when it comes to this is before you even do anything, try to get to your maximum muscle mass as much as you can, just naturally. Of course, there's a lot of things I could talk over, and I've pretty much talked about on this channel, like diet, sleep, and the exercise routines, right? But I think this new age, there's like this basically low key propaganda that says like you only need to do 8 reps and you don't want to fatigue max. And it's like, do these bitches really think that you can gain muscle mass without fatigue, without getting tired, without a little bit of stress? Do they actually think like they're delusional enough to think that that's actually possible? And I hate to say it, it's not, right? Like, right? Like these people that again are buying into the propaganda of like 8 reps max. Like you don't need to do any more than that. It's like, what made you think in such a way? Because you read some study, and even this is like kind of low key a bit more recent. It's like hasn't been out for that long. Like how can you per se like know for a fact it's true? And again, I'm not saying like you gotta like die on the barbell. No, no one's saying that. I'm not saying overdo it. Of course, there's a balance to it. But you do need to train hard. Like that's like the baseline in building muscle. That's like baseline of building muscle. And again, there's actually this one guy I remember he was talking about it. And like this is why I won't even attempt this new form of like propaganda that's out here that says like 8 rep max and that's all you need to do. Right? And like he actually did this for a year. And like pretty much what he noted is that he got more injured. Yeah, he pretty much got more injured. He got more yeah, he got more injured. Right. He pretty much his love for bodybuilding pretty much died out, and like he wanted to stop. Right. It was actually pretty a recent video. Like it was like a big YouTuber who was talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. It's like if you think like the 8 rep max, and like yeah, you will probably build some muscle, but your injury rate will definitely increase, and yeah, I mean, like I said, like your love, like it's the routine per se doesn't per se matter. It's more so your consistency, right? That's what matters, and your recovery. That's what matters, right? Right, I can tell you do this and do that, but it's more so like honestly, like if you don't stick to it, it's not gonna work, right? You need to stick to the routine. You need to stick to you know basically being disciplined. There's like no way around it, right? This hack and that hack, but it's like the basics are usually what work, right? That's why, like me personally, I've always done like 12 reps. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll do 10, but majority of the time I've done 12 reps for each exercise, and I've done like about 3 sets personally. Right? That's personally what I've done. And in fact, sometimes I'll even like depending on the muscle group. Like for example, if I'm training forearms or if I'm training calves, I'll go as high as 50 because again, the muscle fibers within like certain parts of your body, like for example, the forearms, the neck, the calves, and the abs, right? Like for example, these muscles are built out of a different muscle fiber. And there's actually, funny enough, a study to back it up. Right? Study citing, right? Study max, right? But there is a study, and basically, in that study, it says, yeah, again, that since these are different types of muscle fiber ranges, you need to train them to a higher rep range, right? Because again, these are kind of like built onto more like an endurance type of you know, state basically. So that's why you need to train them a little bit higher, right? Like imagine, did you really think your calves would grow with just an 8 reps? Like, I mean, did you really think that training like absolute bitches would actually like work? You, and again, you don't want to listen to me. You don't have to. Right? You would test it out. If it works for you, it works for you. You know what I mean? You don't have to listen to me. Right? Well, I'm gonna tell you, more than likely, it's not gonna be that optimal. Right? And you would have expected me to say and agree with these 8 reppers, 8 reppers. You would have expected me because again, I'm like the biohacking guy. Right? I honestly disagree with them heavily on this shit. Again, if you're getting results from it, you can stick to it. I'm not gonna say you can't, right? But at the end of the day, it's like you kind of have to be careful when there's like a new study and it's like the old thing that you're kind of doing already is kind of working, and to an extent, it's like Deontay Wilder probably said this, and like a lot of people might have said this. It's like if it's not broke, don't fix it. And again, there's nuance to this. I'm not gonna say that applies 100% to everything, but low key, it's kind of true to an extent. It's like you know, you don't have, like this is why like for the past like years I've like almost like not changed my workout routine. Like, I've stuck to it. Like maybe I'll change one workout and that would be like pretty much it. But I won't change like a whole like workout routine. I mean now I actually recently did it because I got to my muscle mass goals. Like I said, like in the title of this video, I gained 10 pounds of muscle mass like within 2 weeks. Right. But I will say this, I did this twice. Like I got to this goal twice. Right? So the first time, the mistake that I did is that um I kind of like basically I hate to say it, right? From my raw milk, you know, masters and lovers out there, right? I made the mistake of like I thought, and again I guess I thought that the raw milk that I was consuming was A2. But unfortunately, because of how fucking America is, it's like majority of the cows here are like A1, right? Unless what I mean, and I would go to this farm that where I would get it, right? Fortunately, since it was A1, your body can't digest A1 milk, even if it's like raw milk, right? So if you overdo it, but kind of like how I was, and again, you kind of do it like muscle, like milk, honestly, especially raw milk, will help you gain muscle mass really fast. But the problem is that it kind of did mess up my digestive system, right? So I'd end up getting sick of it from it, not because the raw milk per se is bad, but because it was A1 raw milk, right? And so that's why like lately I've honestly been consuming goat milk, right? And I think goat milk obviously is better for your digestive system. It's actually closer to human breast milk, funny enough, right? All right. I think yeah, goat milk is definitely closer, and it's A2 by default, right? Like most milks, like outside of America, pretty much A2. Even the cow milk is like if you go to like Europe or all the cows are like A2. Like if you go to like India or Pakistan, like buffalo milk is mostly what they drink, and that's like by default A2, right? And you go to Mongolia, yak milk or horse milk, that's by default A2, right? Camel milk again is A2, right? Right? All these other milks are basically, and this is what humans have been drinking for like the longest time. So if I mean, a very good, easy way to gain muscle mass is through drinking raw milk. Like obviously, make sure it's A1. I mean, it's A2 and not A1, right? Don't make the mistake I did, right? And because of that, honestly, like I ended up getting like, yeah, messed up my digestive system so bad. I was pretty sick. So, I got to one like 50 pretty much, but then I lost so much weight, right? And I ended up like literally everyone was saying I looked like I weighed less, right? And it was honestly like put me in this like depressive state. I'm like, damn, like I got to this pinnacle that I've always wanted, and I got flatlined back worse than before. 135, 133. Actually, I ended up losing that much weight because my body just couldn't handle anything anymore. Right? And I was just like, God damn, bro. For fuck's sakes. I like worked so hard. Now I'm like back here. And then I just had to say, you know what mistake did I make? Because I eat healthy, 100%. 100% I eat healthy. Haven't touched on food in like since 2024, like in 2 years. So what did I do? And I started thinking, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, maybe it was that. And I was like, wait, no, it must have been the raw milk. And it got me thinking, like, damn. So it was not like raw milk per se, but A1. And I was like, yeah, there's probably A1 raw milk. Because most milks and most cows in America are A1, unfortunately, by default. Right? And that's when I switched over to goat milk. And honestly, I'll say it like this, even though again, I'm not a fan of pasteurization, but believe it or not, I think pasteurized goat milk is better for you than even A1 raw milk. Because A1 raw milk isn't, I wouldn't even consider that like, it's not ancestral, it's from, right? Like we humans have not drank this milk, historically speaking, like ancestrally speaking, right? So yeah, I mean, that's like a side tangent, right? So if you are going to drink, again, if you can't get your hands on raw milk, then like honestly, pasteurized goat milk, just make sure it doesn't have synthetic vitamin D, like I've talked about previously. Make sure it's only goat milk and nothing else. Right? I think Summer Hills is like a pretty good option. I mean, recently I found someone that has raw goat milk, and but like low key, right now that I've achieved my muscle mass goal, like I might take a break next week from milk, and like fast low key a little bit, just to like. And it's good to take a little bit of break here and there, right, from like certain foods once in a while, right? But this is actually another point that I'm gonna make is that if you want to gain muscle mass pretty fast, is that you need to eat more meat. Pause. But like if you eat more meat, pause, right? You will actually increase your muscle mass way faster, right? And this is something I noticed, right? So if you eat like steak, I mean, eggs are, I guess, a form of like meat. If you want to, so if you eat more meat, animal meat, eggs, right, this type of stuff, you will gain muscle mass pretty fast, right? And you'll be leaner too, which is like the amazing thing about it, right? Like you're gaining muscle mass, but you also look leaner, right? That will also be another video I'm going to talk about, like how you can build muscle mass while staying lean. The side point to this is that I built, I got, I look leaner than when I was lighter in weight, which is like the amazing thing, right? Like my abs are more visible, and it's like my muscles in general are more visible. I look leaner than I was when I was lower in weight, which you would expect the opposite because when people bulk, they tend to lose that leanness a little bit. But I didn't lose that, right? Right? Which is the amazing thing, right? And it's like, yeah, it's like, man, um, yeah, So, and then another thing is that you will notice like the strength difference too when you start eating meat more. Is that yeah, like by default you will feel stronger. You will feel strong as shit. Like like you will feel more like primal. That's also another point. And another thing is that to increase your muscle mass a little bit faster is eating more quantity of rice. Like and like the way I would personally make it is what I would do is I would leave out some rice at night, put a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just like I mean you can measure it if you want, like I mean like one teaspoon, right? Or I would just use the bottom cap and just pull it like that, right? You don't need, and then they can mix it a little bit so the apple cider vinegar just kind of goes everywhere. Soak it up in water, and you just leave it, and then you cover it, and you just leave it over for at night. And what that will do is it'll break down. I forgot what the exact thing is called, but it's basically it'll make it more digestible for your body, right? When you make rice this specific way, and then you combine that, like you can make the rice how you want, right? That's your naturally, of course, right? Organic, all that, and then you put some meat, right? You make some eggs. This is one thing I did. I was pretty much eating like 12 eggs every day, so not like in one go, but like I was eating like four in the morning, four in the evening, and then four like obviously of course like 2 hours before dinner. And yeah, I was pretty much gaining all this, with every meal I was eating 4x. So again, that is first thing I would eat is the eggs. And then I kind of had this order. Now again, you don't have to be so specific with it, honestly. I don't think it matters as much. But some people say that the order matters. I mean, I don't personally think it matters that much. I just did it personally because it was easier for me. I could stick to it. It doesn't matter too much in my opinion, but I'm just telling you what I did. So I would eat like any animal product. I would eat that first. So like eggs, chicken, beef, whatever. I'd eat that first. Then I would eat the raw. I would drink. I would say the raw milk protein shake that I would make. That's also another thing. Raw milk, whey protein, of course, a highly good sourced whey protein with no filler ingredients, right? And then I would actually add bovine colostrum to this, right? Again, bovine colostrum helps with building muscle mass as well, right? And like pretty much you're making like the best type of protein. Before I feel like also with some of the protein shakes I was making when I was drinking A1 raw milk is that I was adding too much stuff, right? And like you guys have probably seen the stories where I was making, and you don't need to overdo it. I just kept it so simple. Raw milk, whey protein, like a scoop. Oh, those days I would work out 2 scoops. If I didn't work out that day, like 1 scoop. Or if it was like active recovery, 1 scoop. Like, and then I would add bovine cholesterol, of course, like a teaspoon. Like, it's up to you how much you want to add. You can technically add less than that. I personally added a teaspoon because I could handle it. It's up to you. Right? You can start off with less than that. Right? 1 teaspoon. Right? And then yeah. And then oh yeah, I did forget to mention this. And I would eat the rice. So that was the final order. And then whatever else with the rice, right? So maybe occasional some vegetables, whatever, right? And then yeah, oh yeah, and then after, so this is another thing with creatine. So I'm gonna mention this. So the first week you do a loading phase with the creatine. Right? I think everyone kind of knows how to do this, but so what I would do, and what I would also recommend is cutting off any caffeine for that week, right? Because even if it's organic coffee, like yeah, there is some research that shows that caffeine can kind of interfere with the muscle mass building contents of creatine, right? And of course, I got my creatine, you know, it was good sourced because I made sure that it didn't have any heavy metal contaminations and all that, right? So again, that's also another side point is that yeah, I mean, with creatine, yeah, you will build muscle mass a lot faster, right? Yeah. So, you want to for your loading phase, you're going to do 20 grams of creatine in the first week, right? That's a lot. But if you split it up, 5 in the morning, 10, 10 grams, it's basically 2 scoops, right? And then in the middle of the day, and then five, like 2 hours right before you sleep, right? So if you're eating 3 meals a day, right? Or like me personally, honestly, like now I'm like pretty much eating 2 meals a day, but when you're on your bulking phase, you kind of have to low key eat a bit more. And yeah, that is something that you have to keep in mind, right? When you're in your bulking phase, you do have to eat more, right? There's no way around it. Because I mean, a lot of these biohackers will say, "Oh, eat 1 meal a day," but it's like, yeah, maybe if you're not bulking, that's probably what I would do. Like if I wasn't bulking and I was just maintaining, yeah, maybe like 1 meal, 2 meals. Like I personally feel like 2 meals is a little bit better, right? But yeah, but when you're bulking, yeah, you gotta eat a bit more, right? Even though a lot of people may shit in the biohacking community may shit on 6 meals, like that bodybuilders do. Low key, if it works for you, it works for you, right? Like you don't have to be super dogmatic with this shit. That's kind of like what I kind of also hate about some of the biohackers. They become like so dogmatic, they can't fathom that something else could potentially work. Right? It's like yeah, if eating 6 meals works for you, it works for you. You know what I mean, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, right? And again, you only have to do this for a certain amount of time. You don't have to do this for your entire life. You know? But yeah, I mean, with that's pretty much what I did. With the loading phase is I just cut off all coffee, any caffeine. That was the only form of caffeine I was taking is coffee. If I'm being honest, right? Organic form of it, right? And what did I do? Also, yeah. So for the load before the loading phase, before I started creatine, I tried to gain muscle mass as much as I could before creatine. So this is actually kind of a vital point because if you're like kind of underweight and you try to get on creatine, you kind of like just get to what you would have gotten without the creatine. You get my point? So try to get to go to muscle mass, like spend like maybe 2 weeks, even a month before you hop on creatine, preparing beforehand, right? Getting to a good amount of muscle mass, right? So like for me, for example, right, before I hopped on creatine, I tried to get to like 142, 145, right? Right before, like this is like the maximum that I could get to before creatine, right? Then once I right, and then like after I hopped on creatine, it was like I was just getting to that weight without any struggle, right? To 143, 145, right? Like without struggle. And then I hopped to 150, like within like 2 weeks, within like a month, pretty much. I was like pretty much there, right? And I'm pretty much here now, right? But one thing I will say, you don't have to speed run this process, honestly. Like if right, because like I said, don't make the mistake of the A1 raw milk like I earlier. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that was that, that was terrible, honestly. But yeah, with the loading phase, like I said, before you hop on, prepare. I know it's like I don't unfortunately have like a study to cite you or whatever. Right? I'm just telling you my experience. Try it out, right? Try out what I'm saying, and you will probably get the results that you're looking for, right? And then after that, I hopped on the loading phase of creatine, and yeah, pretty much within that month, I mean, within that week, I made a lot of progress, right? Yeah, and then I think I said this in my previous video, where like if I had to rank what's most important for muscle mass, I would say it's diet, then it's sleep, and then it's working out, right? And I will say during this phase, I low key did not per se have the most traditional type of sleep. A lot of people may say that, oh, like your sleep was probably bad, but maybe to an extent it was. But to kind of fix that up, I would do biphasic sleep. That was also another point. So like after working out, so I would train in the morning. Like honestly, I know this is like I talk a lot about MMA and martial arts, right? So honestly, even if you have to stop that for a little bit, I don't see that like especially just for a week or two, just to build up muscle mass. Like that's your focus. A lot of people in the martial arts community will look bad on that, but it's honestly like, yeah, why not? Like muscle mass will help your martial arts. Right? Don't let these dweebs tell you otherwise. Right? Don't let these weak, pathetic motherfuckers tell you otherwise. That like, oh no, muscle mass will slow you down. All of them will be snapped like twigs. Right? It's why they all get injured because their muscles are too weak. Their body is too weak and frail. Right? Ironically enough. Right? But the point is, yeah, you gotta like build up muscle mass. Right? And if you're on that muscle mass building journey, right, I would say diet number one, and then sleep right there, and then uh, your workout routine, basically fitness, right, is right there. Number three. So, with the diet, like I kind of explained, right, you can kind of like copy what I said. You can add in some stuff. Honestly, eating a bit more will be beneficial. Of course, 100% healthy. I didn't eat any junk food or anything like that. Any processed food, right? And yeah, I mean, you could add in your own twist and like whatnot you want to, right? I'm not gonna tell you otherwise, but yeah, keep that in mind when you are making when you are doing this. But I will say this: like a lot of people want you to be perfectionists, and it's like you're human at the end of the day. You will make mistakes. Like for example, like I feel like my sleep wasn't per se the best, right? If you wanna avoid that mistake, I highly recommend you watch my sleep maxing video, right? Right. That will actually really improve. You'll notice a difference in your muscle mass, like for sure. Right? And that's probably the only thing, if I could go back in time, is probably the thing that I would probably try to fix is my sleep cycle pretty much, right? But besides that, I would say besides the sleep, I would say like the diet was definitely a really driving factor for me building my muscle mass. I would say for sure. And then my workout routine was really dialed in, so I was almost in a way working out every day, and a lot of people will disagree with that. But there's a caveat to what I'm gonna say. So it was like basically 3 to 4 times a week is when I was really working out, and then in the rest days, what I would do is I would work out my abs and do active recovery. And I would actually work on my abs like it was a specific muscle group. Like I would work it out that much. It was basically a day of just abs. A lot of people will not will like what? A day of just abs? But it's like honestly that's a lot how I feel like I maintained my leanness. Because I was working on my abs. I mean, and Loki, I will admit, I was kind of like skipping abs before. I wasn't working out on them too much, honestly. Because again, laziness and whatnot, right? I just didn't feel like it. But when I like, again, you can honestly, I think the ab routine that I have, right, it's pretty much honestly the best. Like, if you want to build ab progress, really, like, this is assuming you're not like obese. This is assuming you're not like 300 pounds. You're like a normal human being, right? If you want to make ab progress, even while bulking, and you want to look leaner, you have to do the routine that I was doing. Like, not even to glaze, but I think it was pretty much the best routine because I added in workouts that you probably never seen before. Right. And there's this one workout I'll mention, right? Is that I was doing like this I feel like was a game changer, right? Is that those Bruce Lee like leg raises, right? That a lot of people do for the lower abs. I was doing that, but a weighted version of that that a lot of people will not think about, right? But I was doing it with an attachment that I had specifically that was designed for something else, but I made it for abs. And it was such a it's an ego destroyer. And then I honestly believe that compared up with the other ab workouts that I was doing, built up my abs way faster. And I looked way more jacked. And it's like people don't realize how much of a game changer your abs are to your physique. And they actually make your chest and like everything else look bigger, and your shoulders. Because again, when your abs are popping and they're showing, your chest. Because if you don't have any abs, let's just say you just have a big chest, it kind of looks like I don't know, it just looks weird and invented, pretty much, right? And the thing is, like, I never really had to work on my abs that much, and you would still see them, right? But when I started doing this, like, everyone noticed the difference, pretty much, right? Right? Like, even when I didn't work out, like, you would see the abs, and it's like they were still popping. Like, so the effects of this stay, right? Even though I'm gonna be working, like, this is a side point. Now I'm not gonna be working out super hard. But I'll probably still add in the ab routine that I have because of how effective it was. Right? I'll still keep that, for some days, especially even that I'm like free and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, this is another side point, right? On your rest days, your recovery days, do active recovery, do day of just abs, right? Like you just go in there and you just hit abs, right? Like right after martial arts training or whatever, right? Or whenever you have the time, right? You just hit that, and like you will notice a big difference in your like physique overall. Also, that is building muscle mass. And, as we know, I think everyone pretty much knows muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're building muscle, even here on your stomach, that will increase your weight by default, right? It will increase your muscle mass by default, right? And I highly recommend you guys join the biohacking for MMA because I do have that ab routine in there, right? Or you join the Patreon as well, and you get updates on everything, right? But yeah, I mean, like I said, man, like like this ab workout routine was such a game changer, and like just in general, just hit your abs. Like you will, the split that I had. So this is the split that I personally had. So I would do. I had 2 leg days. This is another side point because your legs are massive. They're like pretty much majority of the weight on your body. So if you increase your legs, and the funniest thing is, there was this one guy. that I used to train with, unfortunately. Like he passed away. You know what I mean? But um, yeah, he had these massive legs, and I was like, damn, I gotta like get my legs like that. Like, so I had a 2 leg day routine, and just one upper body, and then I would occasionally have like an arm day. Like, and I wouldn't do this so like religiously. I would just add this like whenever I would have like extra time or work, right? That's what I would do personally, right? And my arms also got massive from that as well. That's also another side point as well, right? But the 2 leg day routine, one day for hamstring, one day for quads. Yeah, it was a game changer, honestly, bro. Yeah, yeah, it was a very big game changer because you know a lot of people like honestly even at the gym when I was training like martial arts MMA, like even people were saying, man, your legs look bigger, like you look like you gained a lot of weight, and like your legs would be that driving factor. Again, I think there was like some like honestly, it was like dumbest, most retarded video I've ever seen, and it was like talking about like how like if you train legs too often, like you'll age or some bullshit. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Literally, your legs are built for longevity. Talking about I mean, I guarantee you, there's other factors before legs. I don't even know where this retard got his information from. Talking about, oh no, actually, I feel like I still look pretty young, and my legs are still massive, right? So I don't know what he was talking about in that video, right? Retarded ass video. Like I swear, some of these biohackers are so weird. Like a lot of these biohackers are so fucking weird because they like worshipped a new study, and it's like, did you even try it out? Anyways, right, yeah, but 2 leg day routine will help you build muscle mass, right? And I had an upper body day, so I would do chest and back on the same day, pretty much. And then like you can add in a little bit of arms. I personally just didn't add arms because I don't know. I feel like I've always low key had big arms, so like yeah. Also like the way I was training my chest and back, I feel like my biceps and triceps low key were already getting kind of sore whenever I would do them, right? Yeah. So I feel like I didn't personally have to train my arms that much because I feel like my arms just naturally like are pretty big, for my body. So I didn't feel like I needed to do it too often. You know what I mean? But besides that, like you can do them if you want to. It's up to you. Like I won't tell you you can't. But the more I wanted to personally focus, because your chest is the bigger muscle and your back is the bigger muscle, right? If you want to build muscle mass, focusing on those bigger muscles will help, right? And yeah, and then again, if you want this routine, again, joining the biohacking for MMA, that's personally what I did for the fastest muscle mass gains, and I stuck with this workout routine. Even I only changed it up recently because again, my goal right now that I've gotten here, I can like focus on other things besides muscle mass. And if your goal right now is to gain muscle mass and build muscle mass, highly then a 2 leg day routine, a 2 leg day routine will work for you with one day of like upper body, like upper lower split, but two lowers basically. What I mean, right? And yeah, I mean, yeah, you will feel. Also, it's like you will feel the difference in your legs. Like it'll be a lot harder for people to take you down. That's also another thing that I noticed. Ever since I started working on my legs, yeah, like so much harder for people to take me down, right? Because again, they have to deal with this massive like chunk of a leg. And it's like I can just easily just kick out of it. I kick out of any takedown attempt, pretty much. Right. Also, your triangle chokes will be stronger too. That's also another thing. Your submission game with anything, any submission related with the legs, yeah, like motherfucker is done for, pretty much. Right. But that's besides the point. Right. So pretty much you have three, and then you can add in the arm day occasionally. Like if you have some extra like time on the weekends or whatever, you can add that. And like personally, I noticed it would help. I wouldn't add it too much. You can add it more. Like you know what I mean. During these 2 weeks, I did add in the arm day personally. So maybe that's why I also got faster results. And then, oh yeah, after the loading phase that you do with creatine, so you do after that, you can just stick to 5 grams. You don't have to go back up, right? It's also another side point. After that point, you actually end up gaining muscle mass pretty fast. Like I noticed that. And then you can hop back on coffee, which is like the amazing thing because coffee is really amazing, especially if it's organic and sourced properly. It's very good because it increases your androgen receptor, which is another thing that binds to your testosterone. Right? Androgens are probably even more important than testosterone. Right? That's also another side point. Right? But that, adding in the coffee, and then I would just, obviously you got to space out your creatine. So I would personally just take it after training, after working out, and after a meal. Don't take it before a meal, personally. Right? Take it after a meal, after you've finished eating. And if you get like discomfort in your stomach after taking creatine, this is what I would personally do. Is that I noticed that whenever I would take like carb source, it like that discomfort would go down. So it's like you take in like a fruit or something. You can take in some honey or whatever carb source you like. Personally, I took. So this is how I would do it. I would drink a little bit of creatine, and then I would eat like an apple or that. Like drink a little bit of creatine, eat an apple, right? And then you kind of like do that right, until you finish the creatine, and then you can finish your carb source as well, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that I'm out here. Like building muscle mass will help you tremendously. Don't let don't let these fools tell you otherwise. Don't let these weak, pathetic fools tell you otherwise. Martial arts. Your martial arts skill will become better if you become more jacked. That is without a doubt. The only way it would be detrimental is like maybe if you hop on steroids and you get like 50 pounds of muscle. Yeah, maybe. Right? But even that. Obviously, not telling you to go do steroids, but you know what I mean? Don't believe in this myth, man. This is not the '60s. You know what I mean? We're not a bunch of old school boomers with like lower back pain and like knee pain and this pain and that pain. Shut the fuck up and build up your muscle mass, right? Especially if this is low for you and that you've been wanting to do this without having to struggle. Now again, I'm not gonna say you're gonna make muscle mass like how I did as fast within 2 weeks, right? But I will say this is that even if it takes you a month or 2 months, that's still like amazing progress. But that's still amazing. It takes people like way longer. Right? It takes people way longer. Right? But if you follow what I do, it'll be a lot faster, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna, make any bogus claim of like it'll be in 2 weeks. Or it'll be in a month, or it'll be in 2 months. I think it probably will take about a maximum of 2 months. I'll say that. But the effort is entirely based upon you, and it depends on where you are in your lifting journey. That is also another thing as well. And I mean, I kind of probably got lucky because I probably have never used creatine before this point, and I pretty much probably got the noob gains of creatine. So just like everyone knows this, they're the noob gains, right? But it's like I got a new form of the noob gains when I hopped on creatine. Now, low key, I probably will hop off creatine for just maybe like a week or two. Maybe I'll see like how I feel because I'm gonna be fasting a little bit just to see how I feel. This is gonna be. I'll discuss that in another video probably. But for you, if you want to get muscle mass, yeah, creatine will help a lot. Good diet will help a lot. Sleep will help a lot, and exercise routine will help a lot. Right? You can just do what I said in this video, and I think that will honestly help a lot, a shit ton. Right? But if you haven't already, join that biohacking from MMA program to make the same results or even better results. And you know what I mean? And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification, like this video. You know what to do. You know what to do. All of you know what to do. Right? Follow what I say and you'll pretty much make that progress easily. Right? Easily. Right? Is it gonna be harder? But it'll be easy. Right? It'll be easy. For sure. Right? Until greatness returns, I shall leave you in the echoes of excellence.